business residence permit in the Czech Republic. So let's start with the question of who can get a business residence permit in the Czech Republic. If you are an English teacher living in Prague or other freelancer living in Prague, and you are here under the long-term visa with the purpose of stay of business, then the long-term residence permit with the business purpose of stay is the next step for you. So the long-term residence permit with the business purpose is meant for people who are here under the long-term visa with a business purpose. That's number one. Number two, if you're here already under the long-term residence permit with a business purpose, you can also extend it, and you will basically be needing the same documents as if you were getting it the first time. So that's second situation when you can apply or you apply for the business residence permit. And the third situation is, in some cases, if you, for example, finish Czech University and you apply for the special job seeker residence permit, you can also switch to the business residence permit. Or if you have some other type of residence permit, you can, under some conditions, switch to the long-term residence permit with a business purpose of stay as well. But I'll get to it in a second. So maybe let's talk a bit more about the changing of purpose of stay from whatever you have to the business residence, because that's important, and there have been some important changes in the last years. So I'll explain a bit. Basically, if you want to switch from whatever type of visa residence permit you have in the Czech Republic right now to the business residence permit, you can only do it after 5 years of continuous residence in the Czech Republic. So say you've been here for 5 years under the employee card, only after those 5 years you can switch to the business residence permit. The only exception there is if you are a student in the Czech Republic, you finish your studies, you get Czech diploma, and then you apply for the job seeker residence permit. In that case, you don't need to wait for the full 5 years, and you can directly go from the job seeker residence permit to the business residence permit, even if it was just like after 2 years of master's studies. You can do that, but that's the only exception. Usually it's only after 5 years. Okay, so how to apply for the business residence permit for the Czech Republic? The first and most important thing is that you have to apply in the Czech Republic if you're here under some valid long-term visa or long-term residence permit. You cannot apply for the business residence permit directly through an embassy. It cannot be your first application. You always need to do it either as an extension or changing of purpose, or just going from the long-term visa with the purpose of business to the long-term residence permit. You cannot apply for it through an embassy. How you apply for it is kind of similar to other residence types, that you need to collect all the required documents, which I will cover in a second. Then you take them, you need to go to the Ministry of the Interior, responsible for the area where you live. You need to submit all the documents there. And if you have all the documents, if they are correct, the ministry will issue a confirmation that you submitted the application. You will be given a bridging visa, which will allow you to stay here in the Czech Republic and continue working or freelancing. And then you just wait for the approval. So the process is similar to the standard process. And now, what documents are needed for the residence permit with the purpose of business? I'll go through it fast now because there are many documents, and then I'll get back to it and we'll explain in details. So number one, application form. Number two, valid passport and a valid visa or residence permit, whatever you have now. Number three, 2 passport size photos. Number four, proof of income. That's very important. I'll get to it in another part. Number five, proof of accommodation. Number six, trade license extension. Number seven is, or maybe I'll cover all of these, those are proofs of having no debts in all these authorities like Social Security, Tax Office, Customs, in some cases healthcare as well. Then number 8 would be proof of having health insurance. Number 9 would be 2,500 administrative fee for the Ministry of the Interior. That's it. The ministry can also request some additional documents, but it doesn't really happen often in real life. So these are the main ones. So let's go now through the documents one by one in details. So application form for the business residence permit. Nothing too complicated, nothing too scary there. So it's a standard application form, both in Czech and English, nothing to be worried about. Passport, of course, your passport must be valid, and you need to apply for the residence permit before your current visa or current residence permit expires. If you apply after that, it will be illegal, you will be deported, and you have to start all over again. So definitely apply in time. Then 2 passport size photos, that's a standard thing. I would just not recommend getting the ones from the photo booths because the ministry stopped liking them because the quality is not really good always. And they prefer if you go to some place like Photoshkoda, some like professional studio where they can do like a proper photo. Proof of income, that's the most important part of the business residence permit application. Because you need to prove that your business has been making enough money on monthly basis. And how you prove it depends on when you started your business. If you're applying for the residence permit, for the business residence permit, and you have not done your first tax return yet, you will need to submit all your invoices or receipts if you receive money in cash, then all your bank statements for the full validity of your trade license for the whole time you've been running business. And then you also need to do something called table of income, where you basically list all your income so the ministry can easily calculate how much you've been earning, and where you also list all the outgoing payments to the Social Security and healthcare if you need to pay the healthcare on a monthly basis. Then if you have already done your tax return, meaning that you, for example, extend the residence permit, or you just like applied for the visa the way that you already had to do your first tax return, then the ministry will be basing their decision on documents from the tax office, Social Security, and healthcare. You need to get special documents showing how much taxes you paid, how much Social Security you paid, and how much healthcare you paid, and then based on that numbers, the ministry will calculate your net income, and it needs to meet some minimum requirements. This is very important, and what I see, okay, now, okay, I'm back, sorry. So what I see often is that people do taxes with some accountant who doesn't know how to do taxes properly. And then they end up not officially having enough money. Because what I mean by that is that Czech people, for example, do taxes the way that they deduct as much of their incomes as their expenses, so they don't have to pay much taxes. But if you do it as a foreigner, the ministry will be only calculating with whatever is left after all the taxes. So you might easily end up not having officially enough money. So be careful with who does your tax return. On one hand, it's easier because you just get the official documents. You don't need to get any invoices or bank statements or anything like that. But you need to be very careful how your tax return was done. So that's a proof of income. Proof of accommodation, that's a standard thing as well. So of course it must be original. It can be either your lease agreement or the proof of accommodation. In general, I recommend using the proof of accommodation form because it doesn't show your actual lease, so or like the actual rent. So the ministry doesn't know how much you're paying on monthly basis, and then your income needs to be a bit lower or can be a bit lower. If they know how much you're paying, they will be calculated with your real expenses, and you might need to be making more money on monthly basis. Then trade license extension, that's very important to keep in mind because your trade license always has the same validity as your most recent visa or residence permit. So for example, if your business visa expires at the end of the year, 31st of December, then your trade license also expires on the 31st of December. And if you don't want the trade license to expire and you would not be able to run business anymore, then you need to bring, for example, the bridging visa to the trade license office, and they will extend the validity of your trade license for the validity of the bridging visa. So this is very important because the process can take so long that you need to do this a couple times. So to get a bridging visa, take it to the trade license office, extend your trade license. Get a bridging visa, take it to the trade license office, extend the trade license, and do it like this because the process can take very long, often. Then proof of no debts. Of course, you need to prove that you have no debts towards the Czech authorities. So for everyone, it is the tax office, Social Security office, and customs. For those of you who fall under the public healthcare, you also need to get the same document, proof of no debts from the healthcare. You cannot have even 1 crown debt because otherwise those authorities will not issue it and then you will not qualify for the residence permit. Then, of course, you need to have a proof of health insurance. The maximum validity of the residence permit is 2 years. But if you want to get it for full 2 years, you need to have the health insurance valid for the full 2 years. Of course, if you're part of the public healthcare system, like Americans, for example, then you just have the public health insurance card and you can use that. That's fine. You don't need to buy any private insurance. But if you're not American and you don't fall under the public healthcare system, you need to buy health insurance for the full validity of the 2 years. And now, because there is no competition, the government basically canceled all the health insurance companies. Watch my other videos to find out more if you haven't heard about it. Then there is monopoly. You cannot choose which company you want. You need to buy from PVZP. So they doubled their prices. And now, like, it's pretty expensive to get insurance for 2 years, but you have no other option anyway. So, and then, of course, you need to pay the administrative fee, which is 2,500 crowns. And of course, you cannot pay it in cash or by card. You always need to bring the beautiful revenue stamps, which you buy at the post office. So those were the documents needed. I see that you asked some questions, so I'll answer them at the end. Stay with me. I just have like maybe 2 more topics to cover. Basically, one most common question we get about any type of visa, including this long-term residence permit with the business purpose of stay, is what is the approval time for the business residence permit? Officially, it's 60 days. But the Ministry of the Interior often takes way longer, and way I mean like a couple months. It can take half a year. Some plans can be in the process for a year or even longer. It does not really matter, because as long as you submitted the application in time and you keep getting the bridging visas, you're legal here. You can extend your trade license. You can keep working. So it doesn't really matter how long it takes. But officially, the ministry has 60 days. But because of many different reasons, they often take way longer. And what happens after approval of my long-term residence permit with the purpose of business? Basically, the next thing you need to do is to book an appointment for your biometric card. And how to get the biometric card? First thing is that you need to book a biometric appointment. You need to go to the ministry and give your fingerprints, digital photo, digital signature, and you need to give this biometric data to the ministry. The foreign reservation system, you cannot do it online. You always need to book it through a phone on the Czech line of the Ministry of the Interior. And be careful, because you cannot change the appointment date. The biometrics is very important. When you book, go there. Give all the biometric data, your fingerprints, photo, the digital signature, and then 2-3 weeks later, you collect the actual card from the same ministry where you gave the biometric data, and then you're good for 2 years. So that was it. That was the official part. So I'll just go through the questions I have here. If you are still watching, I can see that some people are still watching. Thank you very much for that. If you have any further questions, please be at Trinity Call. I'm sorry if I don't pronounce it well. First time watching from Uganda. Thank you very much. Thank you very much. How is everything in Uganda for you? Please consider work visa without a contract. Well, you cannot really get a work visa without a work contract, because the process I've described it in some other videos. So if you follow me somewhere else, like TikTok or Facebook or YouTube here on Facebook and on Instagram, whatever, then I had some videos about that as well. A test of the lecture, which means that get a position, and only if one gets the position from the Czech Republic, they get a position to a foreigner. And so unfortunately, it's not succeeded. Second, but a couple more minutes, so feel free to ask. I can see Katarsis. Nice to see you. Thank you for joining in. Raj Kundir as well. Thank you very much. Guys, if you have any questions, I'll be staying here for, I don't know, a couple, if you have stream soon, because I've done the official presentation and the official part. So now, and of course, if you have any questions, yes, if you go to our website, prague.com, and then /prague-blog, you need to be careful of what and then the other is so-called other. For this visa, then you can work, you can get employed in the Czech Republic. Basically, there are two types of in the Czech Republic, one of applications. On the other hand, if you go through some Czech language classes provided by some university, usually it's a language class meant as a preparation for studies at the university. Because if you speak Czech, if you study in Czech, then you can study for free. So many universities offer like a year-long preparatory course for studying at their university. So if you go through this course and the course is accredited, then you can apply for a student visa and everything will be easier. So that's definitely possible to study Czech language and get a visa this way, but you need to be careful of what language school or language classes you choose. Hopefully this was good. Okay, so I see that Prat Hamesh Dusanem also is asking a question, so I'll get back to you in a second. Now I'd just like to finish this story. Can I apply it when I haven't found school language? Sorry for many questions. No worries, that's why I'm here. But again, that's the same as any other type of visa. If you want to get the employee card, you need to have employer first. If you want to get the student visa, you need to have the school first. If you want to study Czech language, you need to be enrolled into classes first. If you want to get the business visa, you need to have a business first. So unfortunately, there is no visa type where you could just come here, not have any purpose of stay, and then just figure out what you want to do here. You always need to have some purpose of stay. There is also something called partnership visa, but in that case, you would need to have a partner, not a spouse. You don't need to be married, but just a partner from the EU living in the Czech Republic. And in that case, you can get a special type of partnership visa. But again, you also need to have the partner first. So unfortunately, if you don't have the documents proving your purpose of stay, you cannot get any type of Czech visa. You're welcome. You're welcome. I hope it was helpful. And now, Prathamesh, I hope I pronounced it correctly. Minimum conditions to get business visa. Well, there are many conditions, but basically two most important or three things which are important are: first, you need to have a real business in the Czech Republic. Most people now, I don't know how that happened, but on the internet, there are plenty of articles saying that the Czech Republic offers a digital nomad visa where you can work online and you can get the visa. Unfortunately, that's not true. That's not correct. So don't trust such articles. Czech Republic doesn't offer anything like that. Czech Republic only offers this kind of the business visa, long-term visa with the purpose of business. And in that case, if you want to get a business visa for the Czech Republic, as I was explaining to Ampurire Trinity Nicole about the different types of residence permits or visas, you always need to prove that you have a good business idea, viable business idea, that you have some clients in the Czech Republic, that your business is related to the Czech Republic, even before you apply for the visa. Because if you go to the embassy, say, hey, I just want to do business in the Czech Republic, but I don't know what, and I don't have any clients, and I don't have any company in the Czech Republic yet, of course, they will not give you the visa. So you need to have a business, or at least a very good business plan, and needs to be related to the Czech Republic, and you need to have a real reason to be in the Czech Republic. So that's one important condition, that the business must be real and you must have done something already. Second thing, it depends on what country you are from, because I've explained that in some of my previous videos as well. If you're from, for example, from countries like Pakistan or India or Ukraine, the chance that you will get a business visa is very low. Basically, the chance that you will get any type of visa is very low. And the main reason is that there are quotas at the embassy for how many people can apply for the type of visa every year. And if you're, for example, from India, or you need to apply at the Czech embassy in India, for example, Sri Lankans or people from Sri Lanka can only apply in India as well. So the quota for how many people from the whole, like India and all the neighboring countries for a year is 12 people. So 12 people from the whole of India can apply for the business visa every year. So that's one person every month. So the chance that you will even get an appointment to apply is very, very low. So depends also on the country. So that's another condition. And third condition is that you need to have some minimum amount of money in your bank account. And the minimum is equivalent to 125,000 crowns, Czech crowns. So that's roughly $6,000 and that's the minimum requirement you need to have in your bank account. So those are, let's say, the three main requirements to get the business visa. Hope it was helpful. Okay, guys, if you have some more questions, please feel free to ask. I'll be staying here and dancing for you for another couple seconds, and if I don't see any questions come in, I'll just finish the call. You'll be able to see the recording on YouTube, in my Facebook group as well, Expats in CZE, help and support group, or anywhere else if you follow my TikTok or Instagram or Facebook or wherever you can find me. Okay, so it seems like no more questions are coming. So I'll give you 5 more seconds. If you want to type some question, just like send at least like 2 letters or something, so I know that you're typing. And if no more questions will be there, then I'll be finishing the call. Thank you very much anyway, guys, that you were here with me, that you asked the questions, because that helps me. It's really nice to see that someone is here and then someone find this content useful, and that people are thinking about moving to the Czech Republic. And if I can help, that's perfect. So, okay, thank you very much, guys, and see you next time, Thursday. Bye-bye.